The Holocaust was a dark time for many Jews and other racial groups like the Poles, Gypsies, homosexuals, and Jehovah's Witnesses that were not up to Hitler's standards. As a punishment for not being the ideal individual, Hitler sent these groups of people to different concentration camps in Germany. Hitler believed that eliminating these weak racial groups, it would strengthen Germany's overall power. These poor individuals that were sent to the concentration camps had to endure harsh conditions that were truly unbearable. One of the survivors of the Holocaust is Elie Wiesel, who was only 15 during this tragic time. Have you ever wondered how Elie Wiesel managed to stay motivated after seeing such horrific sights? Many people like Elie Wiesel, Moshe the Beetle, Madame Schechter, and Juliak needed faith in order to stay motivated to survive. However, there were times where this motivation was lost because they felt there was nothing left to live for. The first character that's motivation is diminished is Moshe the Beetle. Moshe the Beetle was an official of the synagogue in Sighet and was also very poor. He is portrayed throughout the novel as a shadowy figure of Elie Wiesel himself. Elie Wiesel questions Moshe the Beetle about his reasoning for praying and explains that it gives him the, quote, strength to ask God the real questions, end quote. Moshe the Beetle is motivated to find answers and believes praying gives him the strength to ask questions, thus revealing his possession of faith. However, the character soon loses motivation to pray and no longer has faith within himself. Moshe the Beetle attempts to explain to Elie Wiesel and the Jewish community what happened to him, but as they refuse to listen or believe him, quote, the joy in his eyes is lost. He no longer mentions God or Kabbalah, end quote. He loses his motivation by not mentioning God or Kabbalah because of the lack of attention from the community, thus revealing his loss of faith.
Another very important character that portrays their loss in faith is Madame Schechter. She's a Jewish middle-aged woman from Sighet that was separated from her husband and her two older sons during the Holocaust. Before she was separated from her two older sons and husband, she is viewed as a very stern and respected woman. Her husband spent a lot of his time studying while she, quote, supported the family, end quote. Her being needed helped her continue and provide for her family, which showed she had possession of faith. However, when she lost her husband and two older sons, she lost all her aspects of herself that made her who she is. On her way to the unknown destination with her 10-year-old son, she began to lose her mind due to the lack of being needed by the rest of her family. She sees flames outside of the window and screams in distress, knowing that what awaits them is far much worse of fate than being separated. The others on the cattle car had reached their breaking point and decided to bound and tie up Madame Schechter due to her madness of predicting what lies ahead of them.
As she realized no one would listen to her, she, quote, had fallen silent on her own, mute again, indifferent, absent. She had returned to her corner, end quote, of safety. Through her silence, she revealed her loss of hope and faith, knowing that it was all pointless in the end.
The last character that portrays a loss in faith and a lasting impression on Elie Wiesel is Juliak. He was a very confident and optimistic Polish violinist who had, quote, eyeglasses and a cynical smile on a pale face, end quote. At first, Juliak is somewhat happy and has some type of hope, due to his friends and his passion for music. Juliak's cynical smile reveals that he still had the tenacity to smile and press forward during this horrific event. His music helped him hold a possession of faith along with helping him feel more like a human being than just a number. It also shows that he still had the motivation to play on in the hopes that one day they will be saved from such an earthly hell. Juliak was the kind of, quote, madman who played his violin here at the edge of his own grave, end quote. When Juliak is viewed as a madman who played his violin at the edge of his grave, it shows how much he has changed as a person, but clings to what he has left of his humanness. His violin is his lifeline, and is the only thing that can truly convey his faith being crushed, but it can also save his faith at the same time. When he is playing for the last time, he conveys his whole life in his now non-existing future. His passion for music is what keeps his faith alive, along with the ones around him. Juliak may seem like a madman for playing music in such a situation with his life at risk, but he is really playing for the ones who lost their faith to continue on and just want to rest and sleep in a heavenly slumber. Through his music, he tells a story of the pain and the hardships that him and many people had to endure throughout the Holocaust.